$90 a share, then 26 cents. That's the entire story of Enron, told in 2 numbers, and it happened in under a year. Now here's the part that doesn't get told. The SEC didn't catch it. Regulators didn't catch it. The people whose actual job was to catch it, auditors, credit agencies, Wall Street analysts, all missed it for years. What finally cracked it open was one journalist, alone at her desk one night in March 2001, rereading a single paragraph in Enron's annual report for the 3rd time, and still not understanding what it meant. Her name was Bethany McLean. We'll come back to her, because the question she asked is the same one you're about to be able to answer yourself. To understand it, picture a different room, 5 years earlier. Houston, 1996. A trader slides a 20-year gas supply contract across a conference table. Not $1 has changed hands yet. The gas hasn't flowed. Nobody's been billed. And the company's own lawyer looks at it and says, in effect, estimate everything this contract will ever be worth over the next 20 years, and we can count that number as profit today. Not next year, not over 20 years, today. It's called mark-to-market accounting, and it broke the basic rule of how a business reports what it earns. Normally, you record revenue as cash actually comes in. Enron didn't wait. They took the full estimated value of a 20-year deal and booked it in a single quarter, as if it had already happened. Multiply that by thousands of deals across years, and you get Enron's real secret. Revenue climbing from $13 billion to over $100 billion in 5 years. A huge share of it never actually collected. A guess, wearing the costume of a fact. And because those guesses were built on Enron's own projections, Enron's own people got to decide how much money the company had made. Nobody outside the building could easily check the work. Now sit in a different chair. You're an executive. Your bonus depends on the stock price climbing every 90 days. Somewhere in that pile of thousands of deals, a real one loses money. What do? You don't report it. You bury it. Quietly. No shredders yet. No headlines. Just paperwork. Hundreds of pages of it. Built around a loophole so dry that almost nobody read closely enough to see what it was actually doing. That loophole had a name, and the man who built it wasn't hiding from Enron's boardroom. He was sitting in it.
Andrew Fastow, Chief Financial Officer, the one person at Enron whose entire job was protecting the company's numbers from exactly this kind of collapse. He built the loophole himself. Dozens of separate shell companies, legally called special purpose entities, created to buy Enron's failing investments off the main books. On paper, Enron looked clean. Underneath, the losses were sitting in entities almost no outside investor had ever heard of. Fastow wasn't only hiding the losses, though. He was being paid to hide them. Tens of millions of dollars in personal fees collected for structuring the very deals that kept Enron's stock artificially high. The man protecting the books was being paid, personally, to make them lie. And still, none of this was fully hidden. It was disclosed, buried in dense filings, spread across footnotes, almost nobody read line by line. Technically legal. For years, not one major Wall Street analyst raised a hand. Why would they? The stock kept climbing. Question a rising stock, and you don't look sharp. You look like the one person standing in everyone else's way. Which brings us back to Bethany McLean. Her article ran with 5 words as the headline. Is Enron overpriced? Her question was almost embarrassingly simple. Using Enron's own public filings, she genuinely could not figure out how the company actually made its money. So she wrote that down and asked it in print. Weeks later, on the live earnings call, an analyst pushes Enron's CEO, Jeffrey Skilling, on those same numbers. Skilling loses his composure and curses at him, on tape, in public, for anyone to hear. Somewhere, that should have ended the story. A sitting CEO breaking on a recorded call over one hard question. Instead, Trading continued the next morning like nothing had happened, because by now too many people, auditors, credit agencies, major investors, had staked their own reputations on Enron being brilliant. Admitting it was fake meant admitting they'd been wrong for years, out loud, in front of everyone watching. And once that many people need a lie to hold up, it doesn't come apart slowly. It comes apart all at once.
October 2001. Enron is forced to restate its earnings. Profits overstated by hundreds of millions. Over $1 billion in debt, hidden for years, suddenly out in the open. The stock starts sliding. Almost no version of this story tells you what happened next. As the price fell, thousands of Enron employees had their retirement savings locked into company stock through their 401k plans, and they were legally blocked from selling during a company-mandated blackout window. Executives weren't blocked. Skilling and Fastow had already sold tens of millions of dollars of their own personal shares, months before the collapse became public. Regular employees lost everything they'd saved. The people responsible had already banked the money and walked. December 2, 2001. Enron files for bankruptcy, at the time the largest corporate bankruptcy in American history. 20,000 people lose their jobs in a single announcement. Arthur Andersen goes down with it, one of the 5 biggest accounting firms on the planet, the firm whose entire job was auditing Enron and catching exactly this, after employees are caught shredding Enron documents the moment investigators start asking questions. So the question that actually matters was never who broke the law. We know that already. Skilling went to prison. Fastow went to prison. The real question is why an entire system of professionals, whose only job was to catch this, missed it for years. The uncomfortable answer: the story was too profitable for too many people to want it exposed. Wall Street didn't miss Enron by accident. Wall Street missed Enron because doubting it was bad for business, right up until the moment it wasn't. And this is the detail worth sitting with. Mark-to-market accounting, the method that let Enron count tomorrow's imagined profit as today's real money, was never banned. After Sarbanes-Oxley tightened the rules in 2002, the same basic method kept going. Companies still use it today, across banking and energy and beyond, fully disclosed, fully legal. The tool didn't disappear, only Enron did. So the next time someone tells you a company's numbers are too solid to question, remember this one was praised for 6 straight years and took less than 4 months to hit 26 cents. If you had Bethany McLean's job today, looking at the filings that are public right now, what's the one number you'd want someone to explain to you first?